Hello and welcome to the agenda. I am Ajay Kaul. Today we will discuss about another attempt by Chinese troops to escalate situation on the border with India. China seems to be in no mood to reduce tension with India. Rather, it appears to be keen on escalating matters. This becomes clear from the latest reports of an attempt of intrusion by the Chinese army in the Sikkim sector of the border, which led to a physical face-off. So what is China up to? We will try to analyze this in the agenda today. We have with us retired Major General Ashwini Sivach and retired Major General Dhruv Katoj, who is President of India Policy Foundation. But before we begin our conversation, let's have a look at this small report.
Even as military face-off continues on the Ladakh border, China has made an attempt to escalate tensions with India on the Sikkim front now. According to reports, Chinese troops tried to transgress into Indian territory in Nakula area. When the Indian troops stopped them, a physical face-off ensued in which 20 Chinese army men and 4 Indian soldiers were reportedly injured. For the record, Indian Army said in a statement there was a minor face-off at Nakula area of North Sikkim on 20th January and the same was resolved by local commanders as per established protocols. Although the army asked the media not to exaggerate the issue, the development can't be dismissed since it follows China's aggression launched in May last year in eastern Ladakh, which led to a military face-off which continues. As of today, nearly 1 lakh troops on both sides of the line of actual control in eastern Ladakh are deployed along with military planes and missiles. A trigger can lead to a major military confrontation between 2 largest powers of Asia. Also significant to note is the fact that Chinese troops have tried to upend the Sikkim front despite giving assurances that it wants to see the de-escalation of tension on the border. So India needs to be watchful and alert. Bureau Report.
Now let's welcome our guests, Major General Sivach and Major General Katoj. Welcome to the program, both of you, sir.
Thank you.
So let me begin by going to Major General Katoj about the latest reports of skirmish or maybe face-off, physical face-off, I'll say, in Sikkim area, in Sikkim sector rather. So how do you see that act of China?
The way I looked at it is, the first time we had a skirmish in Nakula, and please remember, this is at an altitude of above 17,000 feet. It is a high altitude area, oxygen is very low. Now we are in the peak of winter. So this face-off took place last year for the first time, and this area has never seen face-off. So I think it's part of a larger Chinese design to continue to provoke India. Now talks are going on. We recently, the latest edition with the Chinese have been held at the military level recently. I did not expect any conclusion out of these talks. And the basic reason I'm not expecting any conclusion is of Chinese intransigence. You see, China wants to continue to provoke,
Right.
and they think at some time they will not get a response. Unfortunately for China, the Indian political establishment, I will say the political authority and the military authority are both very firm in. So all these attempts by China to continue to nibble Indian territory is not going to be successful, and I am very pleased that the Indian army gave them a fitting response in which they were forced to go back, and I believe some of them suffered minor injuries.
Right. So General Sivach, I ask you about now Sikkim. I mean, Chinese escalating tension in this Sikkim sector, and that also on the eve of the Corps Commander level talks on the Ladakh issue. How do you see this?
See, Ajay, the point what we need to see is that after what we have done on night of 29th, 30th August, by occupying Kailash range, the things have completely changed. You know, the Chinese are feeling the heat of it. The initiative has come on us. Today we are with a dominating class range which has got Rajangla, Magar Hill, Gurung Hill, Pangur Gap. You can dominate the complete Chashul Moldo board. You can now go from Spangur Gap towards Chinese. Chinese cannot come to your side. What they did in 62. Now they are feeling restless. They want to take some sort of quid pro quo. They want to take some height wherein the initiative passed back to Chinese. Remember when they initially came in May, we were slightly surprised. And it took us some time to have a mirror image deployment.
Right.
But we shortly had within 1 month. After that, what we did in night 29th, 30th August by occupying class range south of Pangangso, the complete situation changed in favor of India. And today Indian Army is a battle hardened. We are occupying heights in Ladakh. We know it. We are in a better position. But you can't underestimate Chinese. You know, they are preparing themselves. They have already made it is very close to you can say a line of control and border in Andhra Pradesh, north of you can say of their own side. So the point which is happening is that Chinese want to now do a quid pro quo. No, point is that as on today, this is a known campaign season starting from January to May because heavy snowfall takes place and no major operation can take place. But at the same time, a small operation where a height or two can be captured by either side. Now, they knew there will be a talk which will be taking place, 9th, Corps Commander meeting in Moldo, that we will be visiting that. And this is a good opportunity to do something of that nature. And they try to occupy a height in Nakula, that is Nathula area. But Indian Army was well alert, the troops were well alert,
but General,
and they not only thwarted, but they have inflicted casualties on Chinese. The Chinese are reluctant to now dispose of that, how many casualties they got it, but they got a befitting reply. My only point of telling is that you cannot underestimate Chinese, you cannot believe Chinese. Now, there is a zero trust deficit between India and China. India does not believe what China does and what it speaks. It speaks something else in the meeting, it does something differently on ground.
Right.
So we have to be well prepared for all eventuality. To me, it looks like that China is preparing for something big after May 2021. It will all depend how Joe Biden administration or America plays a pivotal role in the US and also in international fora.
Preparing something big, what do you mean by that? What could be the possibilities?
See, the possibility is that it can be a full-fledged war. You see, the point is heavy pressure is being put by the Chinese on India, and it can be two-front. So we cannot be now daydreaming. It can be a ground reality. So we are well prepared for that. My point is, who thought that Ladakh will take place a year back?
Right.
Everyone thought that India and China are, economically so intertwined. $75 billion is the trade between India and China. We are giving a huge market. There are about 300 apps of Chinese working in India. And after what we have done, more than 200 apps have been banned. The loss in TikTok was $3 billion. But still the Chinese came in Ladakh. They have come in Dapsan by almost 7 to 8 kilometers. So you can't believe Chinese. You have to be prepared for worst case scenario. If you are not prepared for worst case scenario, then you will get a surprise. If you are prepared, we don't want war. War should not take place. If war takes place, we will lose something. But the Chinese are there to lose much more than us. But so it be. But you cannot rule out the Chinese are not preparing for war. We have to take a worst case scenario and prepare for the war.
I'm sure our forces and government must be ready. General Katoch, as you heard Major General Sivaj, that China could be preparing for war. Do you agree with that?
Well, listen, you see, I have long view that a war between India and China, a question of will it take place?
Right.
It will take. The question only is of timing, when. And the way the Chinese are going about it, whether they impose a war on us in 2021 or maybe 1 decade later, we don't know that. But the second point which I have continuously made is that if India wants to avoid the war, then we must be prepared to fight and win it. Once we are prepared to fight and win the war, we can rest assured there will be no war. Now that is the bottom line. As far as the Chinese, trying to go in for a war, depending on what the Middle East does, I personally have a different view. I think what happens in India and China has got nothing to do with what happens between China and the United States. With India, it is a land conflict, and if it comes to that, regardless of China's relationship with the United States, in my view, this conflict is on only one fact: the capacity and the capability of the Chinese chips and the military to win the war.
Right.
If they feel they can win, they will go for it. If they feel it will be a stalemate or they will lose, they will avoid it. So that is the bottom line.
Right.
As far as the American factor is concerned, I think that will only come into play in the sea and in the Indo-Pacific. And there, I think the China is a bit more cautious in carrying out any preemptive strike as of now, what we call the cross-strait crisis or state strike from Taiwan.
So General Katoj, as you said that, and both of you in fact said that war will take place. Earlier, I mean, all experts thought that it may be not war, but maybe conflict confined to Ladakh region or Ladakh sector. But now when we see China opening new fronts like Arunachal, maybe building villages there, or now Sikkim, surprisingly Sikkim. So does it talk about something bigger ambitions of China, General Katoj?
No, I've got absolute doubt that if a conflict takes place between India and China, it will not be to eastern Ladakh, it will be across the entire line of actual control. So I think as conflict in Arunachal Pradesh across the length and breadth, we are looking at a conflict in Sikkim and we are looking at a conflict in eastern Ladakh. The Chinese may very well carry out action in Bhutan. We don't know that. But the question, Chinese will, it will be a war across the entire frontier.
Okay.
The air forces are going to get very seriously involved. I'm not sure that the navies will get involved, but it will certainly be the Indian Air Force and the Indian Army should be actively involved in a conflict which takes place over the Himalayas.
Right. So General Sivach, I am also surprised in fact about Sikkim. Sikkim was kind of, I will guess that it was a settled border, unlike Ladakh, which is maybe disputed or according to Chinese. So we thought Sikkim was a peaceful area. So why Sikkim?
See, Ajay, the Sikkim, because the point is that it is preparing for, complete front starting from Ladakh to Arunachal. And wherever it finds a soft opening, it will try to grab that land. The point in Sikkim is that we are on a dominating height. A majority of, area is completely under our domination. So it wants to take back that advantage. It wants to occupy the height which can nullify that advantage. So Chinese are trying to find wherever they think an opening. As on today, till May, they will not go for a major offensive. It's a rule out because the terrain, the weather condition does not permit you. But what can happen is what they try to do is, try to take one hill feature, do a quid pro quo, try to improve your defensive posture. That they will do it. But my take is slightly different. My take is that we should be prepared for a worst-case scenario, thinking that Chinese are preparing for all-out war in this summer. If we think that way, then we are better prepared.
Right.
That is one thing. My take is we have an edge on Chinese as far as our Navy is concerned. Because our Navy is quite strong in Indian Ocean, we can choke Malacca State from where the trade of China goes almost 70 to 80%. If we choke Malacca State, the Chinese only have got oil for 50 days. But for choking Malacca State, you may need the help of other coordination. And that is US, Japan and Australia to some extent.
Right.
And also our Air Force had an edge over the Chinese because the quality of aircraft which we have in terms of Sukhoi 30 MKI, Mirage 2000, MiG-29, Jago, Apache Anti-Captor, and now the Rafale has been added. And our airfields are at lower heights, can take a more payload. Our missiles, our weapon system are far better. Our troops are battle hardened and they have tested the blood. They are, seen the war starting from 1947. The Chinese have fought the last war in 1979 with Vietnam, and they had a bloody nose by the smaller country. So therefore, considering all this thing, I feel the Indian has advantage, but certainly we have to be prepared for a worst case scenario. You cannot believe what Chinese are doing. If we are prepared for a worst case scenario, if nothing happens, good enough. India does not want war, but you should be prepared for one. Because can you believe in China? China have come in a death song. Are they ready to go back? They are trying to negotiate, but they are trying to negotiate in their own terms. They are trying to convey to you, you leave south of Pangangsa class range, which is our own area. Why should we leave it? You go back to whatever status was there prior to April 2020. You have come 7 to 8 kilometers in depth, so Chinese must go back. So my take is, you should be prepared for a worst case scenario, and in case the Chinese are preparing, which it looks on ground, we should prepare in our sphere. In case war takes place, we should be ready both Pakistanis in a two-front war.
Right. General Katoj, as you heard, that we should be prepared for war. So when General Sivas said that, China is trying to grab land, is it only to grab land, or is it to provoke India to maybe into a major conflict?
No, you see, what they are doing now, these are minor skirmishes which are taking place, which can lead to war. No, it is not simply a question of grabbing land. The Chinese objective is to get control over the complete Himalayan ranges. It's not a question of getting 1 square kilometer or 2 square kilometers.
Right.
They want all. Right. Now, if they get control over the Himalayas in Arunachal Pradesh, in Bhutan, in Nepal, in Sikkim, and in East, you see, then they are the upper riparian country. And they can all the waters which flow down towards South Asia. And I think once you control water, you control that country. Now, that is the ultimate aim. Right? And China is pushing towards that aim. They were not expecting resistance so quickly. Now the resistance has started, and I think to achieve an aim of that nature is not going to take place. So, my original point, we need to be prepared to fight and win. And that preparation is across the board, from the Army, the Navy, Indian Air Force. Once you're prepared to fight and win that war, rest assured, there will be no war. But if China perceives a weakness, if they feel away with it, they will impose a battle on you, and they will try to stay with it.
Okay, General Sivas, as you mentioned earlier about Malacca Strait, that we should choke China there, and with the help of US, Japan and Australia. But being a realist, do you think that America will come to our help or maybe cooperate with us in choking, doing that, maybe Japan, Australia, etc.? Can we rely on that?
Absolutely. See, the point today is everyone will look after their own national interest.
Right.
What national interest as for America, it suits that point of time, it will make a difference. And so will be the other Quad countries. But remember, we have signed a 4 foundation agreement with America. That is your GSO MOI. Then you have got LIMIO, that is Logistic Exchange Memorandum of Agreement. Then is COMCASA, Communication Compatibility and Security Agreement. And then is the BECA, Basic Exchange and Cooperation Agreement, which has been recently signed some time back.
Right.
These agreements gives a leverage that the India and
General,
are strategic partners.
General,
they will give us a lot of information. They will give us a lot of confidential data, which will improve,
our capabilities
of our weapon system. So it will help us. But you think that they will come all out to in support of India may not happen. I certainly say, if you have to fight with China and Pakistan, you have to fight your own war.
Right.
But what you can get the help is in terms of surveillance, in terms of intelligence, in terms of weapon system, and in terms of technology. That is what you can do. Rest, you have to fight your own war. That point is very clear. No one is going to fight a war for India against China and Pakistan. If we are capable, I don't think the war will take place. That is also a bottom line. The Chinese know this well. that the day they feel that we are equally strong, that China will not make a mistake of going for a war.
Right. General Katoch, you heard General Sewaj saying about, in fact, what is your view on that? Whether we should rely on America? See, we have got these agreements which will help us through intelligence, I mean, in terms of intelligence and other things. But we are not a NATO ally that America will come to help us or something.
Let's make this very clear. We do not have a military alliance.
That's what I'm saying, yeah.
With the United States, and the Quad is not, as of now, and peace. Where there will be military cooperation and top hostilities. So that is not going to happen. And I agree with my co-panelist, General Sewaj. He very correctly said the Americans are not going to end, and I don't see any reason why they should. But what will happen? We will certainly get help in a different form, especially in intelligence and in the electromagnetic spectrum systems they can give us. So that will be there. But so if a war takes place in the Himalayas, for India to choke the Malacca Strait is not going to happen. But we can make it difficult for the Chinese, maybe most certainly, and we will see as to how that can be done. But powers are not going to interfere. The larger danger is, India-China, Pakistan may like to come in on the side of China, but now, considering the state of the Pakistani economy, now we are quite capable and competent to take both of them on and win this war.
So, given this scenario, as you talked about Quad, should there be a formalized military cooperation agreement among the Quad countries?
I would actually urge for that, because I think it is high, that the very idea that you are going to stay non-aligned and out of the picture, really, I don't think it's going to work anymore. We've got to get onto some sort of an alliance, a quasi alliance or some sort of an alliance. And I think the right way to do it is the Quad. Now, can we strengthen the Quad? Will Australia continue to do that? What happens if the Labour Party comes into power in Australia?
Right.
They change. So you see, there are so many ifs and buts. But I think, regardless of the new American administration states, India-US relations continue to remain strong. But how America will deal with China, I think, what we need to keep watching over the next 1 to 2 years. Because if they have a soft towards China, then to look at any form of military cooperation with the US as one of the partners may be a tall ask of now.
Right. General Sewaj, I will ask you the same question about Quad, whether there should be a formalized military cooperation agreement, and it all again, as General Katoch mentioned about change of government in Australia, and even post-Trump era in US, there could be a change scenario and approach towards China. What do you say?
Absolutely. No doubt about it. See, the Quad was formed in 2007. And thereafter, it took us long time to come to a stage which is now it is there. At least it is formalized. All four partners are now cooperating with each other. They have also participated together in a naval exercise called Malabar. Chinese, due to the pressure of Chinese, the Australians never, came to Malabar exercise. And so India is also not invited.
They were
and so is
yeah.
Japan. No, today what is happening is that it has not formalized, it is inching toward formalization. It is not militarized, it is inching toward militarization. But all these actors and characters have their own interests, I agree. As to how Joe Biden will think about China in time to come, will he give the same support what the Donald Trump government was giving, or he will change with his own interest, that time will tell. Australia is a weak link, I fully agree, because Australia has got a lot of economic interest in China. Australia was very reluctant to join Quad. It took us long time. Right. So it all depends, because as of today, the Quad is becoming a reality, but it will depend as to how Joe Biden takes on in time to come against Chinese in the next 2 years, and also what government is formed in Australia. I do agree, because Australia is a weak link in that. Both countries like Australia and Japan have got their own economic interest with China, and they both are part of RCEP. Remember, India is not part. The regional economic cooperation agreement with
Right.
these 15 countries have been signed.
So, General
it is there.
General
I agree with that.
General Sivaj, we have to close, but I will also refer to you that even Japan is, I will presume that it's also a weak link, because this Quad was being pushed by Shinzo Abe. Now Shinzo Abe is not there, so I'm not sure whether Japanese under the present government will push it. Last comments.
Absolutely.
We have to close.
I agree with you. I fully agree that what will be the economic interest of Japan and Australia, that will also dictate whether the Quad becomes a ground reality or not. And also what will be the attitude of Joe Biden toward Quad. So all countries will look after their own interests, and then only the Quad can become a ground reality.
Right.
But certainly it looks like that at least it has come a long way from the time when it started in 2007.
Yeah, Quad has come a long way, but I think we have to depend on our own capabilities. Otherwise, we can't trust or rely on any other
Absolutely.
country. But the time of this program is over. Thank you both of you for participating in this debate today. This is all in the agenda today. Thanks for watching. I'll be back with another important topic on Wednesday. Till then, goodbye.